Hey everybody, it's Professor Snart checking in here. Okay, so a couple things. I'm going to walk us through a little bit of our course coming up. We only have about a week and a half left or so. It really just flies by. It's amazing. But the other thing that I wanted to say is that this is going to sound maybe corny or whatever, but I've been teaching here at COD since 2002, so quite a long time. Creative writing right from the beginning. And I've run into lots of really great writers, and sometimes you're lucky if you get 2 or 3 in a class. Oh, I have a meeting coming up. How important. So yeah, you get, run into lots of great writers. You get little pockets of them here or there. But, and you can sort of search my YouTube videos. I've never done this before, so it's not like I say this to every class. But I've never really run into a whole class of writers who are, even in this really quick 5-week format here, are just producing writing that's really, really, really good. And it's good in lots of different ways. It's like unique and imaginative and interesting to read. There's people writing in a lot of different styles, so it's not like you've all just conformed to like this one sort of correct thing to do, which that doesn't exist. So there's lots of diversity, which, I often run into, but rarely do I see both a diversity and really quality writing that people are doing. So the luxury for me now, and it actually I have to fight the temptation to jump in, is sort of to get out of the way and let people just continue doing the great work that they're doing. But the one thing that I wanted to I guess, say in addition to that is don't let it go to your head, first of all, and just coast the rest of the way. I don't think people would do that anyway. But also, I do think that one of the things that I'm seeing in the writing that people are doing, and whether you learned it from the course or it's intuitive somehow, or you learned it somewhere else, or whatever the case might be, there really is, across the board, I can see an effort to put into practice some of the advice that I am giving, but also some of the stuff that is in our course. So again, it's not like everyone is suddenly just conformed to this one way of writing that I idiosyncratically like, because the advice I try to give and the concepts that are built into the course, there's no universal creative writing standardized curriculum, obviously, but I would bet, again, based on my experience as a writer and a teacher of writing, that most good teachers of writing would agree in some way or another with most of the conceptual stuff, like the rules of creative writing. They might present it differently or use different terminology, but the fundamental ideas are there. So again, there's lots of different diverse writing that's coming out of the work that people are doing, but I still see it grounded in the really important concepts from our class. So I'm sort of really pleased in some ways that we have a really great group of writers across the board, and part of what I'm seeing in that writing seems to be an effort to actually practice what I tell you in the videos or the stuff that's in the course, and that again, maybe you knew that already, or people have run into this before or have a lot of experience doing creative writing. That may be true for some folks, but I doubt it's true for everybody. So anyway, this is a really great experience for me to have a smaller class size, you may have noticed. Big enough, though, so we have that diversity, but everyone really seeming to be invested in producing good work of their own, really getting hands-on with that commentary and feedback, whether it's in the discussion board, which is a little more of that, what we would call summative, so you don't get into the document or the post and sort of line-by-line edit. But in the workshops, that's more of what we do, and even there I'm seeing really good investment, pretty much across the board. It's great, right? Unfortunately, we only have about a week and a half left, including our creative nonfiction workshop and then our poetry workshop. So there's really not a ton of time left for us, but I'm really pleased with the quality of the work that people are doing, and you should sort of recognize for yourselves, give yourself a pat on the back, but also kind of take advantage of this sort of unique situation where we have the smaller class. People are producing lots of different kinds of, stylistically, different kinds of work. But from what I can see, it's all really high quality. Or put a different way, it all reflects an investment on the part of the writer. And even sometimes if a work isn't good, whatever that means, in our context, because we're so interested in the workshop model, even if it's not a successful story or poem, if we sense that there's been investment, right, to try to make it successful, it's sort of like we can appreciate that. What really sucks, honestly, is that when you're like in a workshop group and you've invested some time in your piece, even if you know it's not perfect, you get some feedback, and then you invest time in providing comments to a work that totally runs counter to like everything that we've talked about in the class. So the person has just clearly paid no attention. It's sloppy, right? It's just like, why am I having to read this? I get that. Trust me, I get that. So take advantage of this great situation that we've got people producing really great, interesting work and invested in doing good work themselves, but also really sort of participating actively in the course. Okay, enough of that for now. So let's take a quick look just ahead at our due dates, because again, they come so quickly for us. So we are just kind of getting into our creative nonfiction workshop. As I'm recording this, it's Wednesday morning, so we're posting, providing feedback. You pretty much know the drill from our first workshop. We have a quick kind of turnaround bridge unit where we talk about sort of theories of creativity, but focused on more of the poetic side of things. And then we have our poetry workshop. Groups are a little bit bigger because the length of the work that people are turning in is usually just a poem or two, fairly short, right? 1-2 pages maybe. And then we have the opportunity for a final reflection, kind of like, what did you learn in this course? This is a challenging one, right? Because it's just been five weeks. And even in a 16-week course, it's sometimes hard to see really drastic improvement in your actual writing. Even if you know some new ideas about writing, sometimes it takes a while for those to come to fruition on the actual page. But for this group, there might be some folks, maybe a lot of folks, who really are so aware of their writing, kind of ideas about writing, that even in our shortened 5-week format here, there are things that you've experienced or learned in the course, saw in your own writing, or even seen in other people's writing that really, really have kind of coalesced and taken shape for you. Okay, so this is a great experience for me to be in this situation, kind of enviable from the teacher's side. Hopefully you're feeling good about it too and can take advantage of it too. Keep your eye on those due dates then as we get right down to the end of our course, and notice that we do go up right to like the very end, and then we get to celebrate the 4th and the end of our 5-week creative writing course. Okay, so any questions, concerns, be in touch with me. If you want to make an appointment face-to-face or virtual to talk more specifically about a piece of work for the course that you've done, or even a creative writing thing that you have on the side, if you want to talk further about it, I'm always open to that kind of discussion.